You hear people speaking about it, like the med beds. Ever heard of a med bed?
Yeah, of course, it grows your limbs back.
Well, that's good technology, isn't it?
Mm.
But that's not going to happen till we all wake up. And you can see a lot more people are waking up to the world. And it's done on purpose. Because all this new stuff, this new technology, these new ideologies can't come in until we're all awake, or at least till the collective is awake at a certain point. Because if they bring in all of this technology and ideologies while the collective is still half asleep, it could send half of the world into psychosis. And so that wouldn't be good. It would turn a lot of people psycho because that stuff is just too fathomable to comprehend in our brain without knowing it first, or at least knowing the ideas. That's why they put it into the movies and stuff, sci-fi, so they can slightly get it into the brain, so it's not a new concept. But we'll see.
Hey, beautiful soul, I'm Hayden Crawford, your host and soul guide here at the Dreamtime Academy, a cosmic mystery school for starseeds and truth seekers, just like you, who are looking at rediscovering your inner wisdom for a life of more freedom, joy, and purpose. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell for future notifications so that you never miss one of my podcast episodes of either the Numerology Show or Cosmic Conversations, or indeed some of my transmissions, which will help to activate the next layer of your spiritual awakening. I'm the author of the Starseed Ascension Guide and the Cosmic Family Oracle cards, both designed to help you to reconnect to your higher self and remember who you truly are. If you want to dive deeper, we have an online membership portal called the Oversoul Codex Collective, where you can join a like-minded group of starseeds from all across the planet as you delve into courses in numerology, colour therapy, and cosmic consciousness as well. You can also support this channel by becoming a member, either as a soul spark or a codex keeper. If you're feeling the call to join us together in person, then we also host consciousness expanding retreats in Perth, where you can really start to experience this incredibly immersive work within community environment. Once again, your support really helps this channel to grow. So thank you for joining this team of galactic lightworkers from all across the planet, helping to expand consciousness and bring light into the darkness. Okay, so welcome to the Numerology Show. Today we have a very special guest with us, Liam Edison. Now he's a rising star on in the numerology world on TikTok, and he's been sharing his tips with thousands and thousands of people. So Liam actually brings a really fresh, modern perspective to numerology, helping people to understand that numbers shape their lives. And he has a very special way of engaging people with numerology by looking at the shadows aspects of numerology, which I find really fascinating. So we're going to dive into his approach today, his inspiration, and how numerology can be applied practically into everyday life, as well as how he's actually using social media to bring this ancient wisdom into a brand new generation, which is amazing news, because otherwise it's just going to be a dying art. So welcome, Liam. It's lovely to have you here with us today.
Much
How are
appreciated. Thank
you?
you, Hayden. I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Very well as well, thank you. Now, could you tell us a little bit about how you got into numerology in the first place? Because it is one of those subjects that tends to find you, I've found anyway, for me, later on in life, and you're very young. So did you have a bit of an aha moment? Did you have an epiphany? What happened?
No, nothing like that. I got gifted a book when I was about 15 from my dad. It was a numerology book. Uh, and that was my first step into the world of numerology. But there was issues with it. I read it and I could feel the issues, not see them, could feel them. And it was a lot more of a modern book compared to what we do now. That's why hence I could feel the change, feel the difference. So that book was a Pythagorean book. It's nice. It's a good starter to get you into numerology. It gives you, it's like it gives you the flatline basis of what each number is. Um, but it's a reduce and forget system. So you reduce it and you forget where it came from, and you focus on the root. But with Chaldean, we look at the compound. It tells the story of how you get to that number.
Interesting. Okay, so I need you to elaborate a little bit on that. So, can you give me an example?
Okay, so there's different types of fives. You can have a pure five, so that's just pure five, or you could be born on the 14th. 1 and 4 is five, but that expresses itself differently to a normal five. Even though five is Mercury and it's change, it's talking. Um, the 14 adds layers to that. It adds discipline. It adds will. Let's say a 23/5, still talking, still adaptive, but very emotional, but very creative compared to the 14 and the 5. So is with every number, especially like sevens. The 35 and the 25, they are completely different, even though they're both sevens and they want their own space. But the 25 is able to push and pull with that due to the 5.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So I understand what you're saying now. So it's interesting because I find that too, traditional Pythagorean numerology, which I study, doesn't really break it down like that. But because I work with the color mirror system, I've started reading more information into the numbers because the bottles are numbered. So, like, for example, our bottle 25 is called Trust, which is yellow and turquoise. And so, even though it carries the vibration of the seven, it brings in that information about the fear of betrayal. The yellow is I fear, turquoise is trust. Do you find that when you start layering the information from how the number is constructed, that it gives you so much more information?
If you layer it in the right way.
So
If you
explain what
go,
you mean.
so the 25/7, you've got to go through the 2 and the 5 first before you get to that 7. Um, but let's talk about position. Life path sevens. Life path is not who you are, it's just where you're going. So the 25/7, you're talking about the environment, not yourself. So you've got to add these layers into the environment, not about your personality, because that's not your life path. But now if it was your day that you're born, that's about you. It's about your natural abilities for your physical avatar. But you've just got to layer it in the right way, and you've got to be able to see what placement it is. Because a 7 life path acts different to a 7 day, acts to a 7 in a name number. They all act differently, but yes, the root is it's Neptune, it's wisdom.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it depends on where that seven appears, whether it's the day number, the life path number, or the soul edge, or the outer expression, or whatever terms that you have for those things. Because everybody, I've found, through doing this show, that everybody's got different terms for absolutely everything.
Yes.
So for you, what's the most important number? So where do you start when you start engaging with a client? Do you start with their life path number? Is that the most important number in Chaldean, or not?
So the most important is always and will be the name. Very simple. But when I first look at with a client is the day number because we're looking at them. We'll eventually get onto your path and where you're going. But first, you've got to understand yourself. This is why I'm doing it with other people, because a lot of people are stuck nowadays. They don't know where to look to try find themselves. So that's what I'm here to do. So I'm not going to tell you where you're going because I'm not really bothered about where you're going. I want to help you align with your frequencies and your vibrations, the ones that you forgot before you got here, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
hmm So you'll then start with their day number because it gives you a snapshot of like where they're at. So you're not too concerned about their future. You want to help them
Not where
understand
they're at. I wouldn't say where they're at. It tells me who they are.
who they are.
So once that happens, you can. look at the negatives, like we was on about earlier, the shadow and the positive, and from their answers, you can gather if they're a balanced person or an imbalanced person, and through that knowledge, you can help them. Now, your life path's different. It just tells me that your environment is imbalanced. It doesn't tell me you're imbalanced.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. So, right. So can you explain then the your approach to numerology when you do you ever combine Pythagorean numerology with Chaldean numerology or another
Yeah,
system, or is it just purely based around Chaldean?
it's purely based around Chaldean.
Okay. Okay. And so the name that you explore, do you look at the whole name on the birth certificate, or do you just go with the first name and the last name? Do you, you know
We do
what?
the same thing in Pythagorean. So you've got your full name, you've got your first name, which tells you expression of the soul, you got your vowels, and you got your consonants. Same thing in Pythagorean, but the big difference is it's the calculator. We don't use nine. Nine is divine, it is feminine. So we don't use it. We do one through eight. So now you get one name and you calculate it in Chaldean, and then you calculate in Pythagorean, you're going to get different vibrations, different frequencies.
Interesting. So you don't use the nine.
No,
Interesting. So why is the nine sort of exempt from, the
because the
calculation?
nine holds every other vibration. So we can't single it out and box it into a little box because it holds all the other vibrations.
Okay, that's
It's
really
an
interesting.
amplifier, but it's also I can't remember the word. 5 plus 9 equals 14. One of four is five. So it stays the same. But do you see what it did? It changed that five from a root five to a compound of a 14. So now you've added the nine into the equation. You've amplified that five into a different compound of itself, into a higher octave. Because every time you get to eight and nine, you're entering a higher octave.
Because the nine never really loses its integrity, does it? Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter what you do with the nine; it will always stay the same. Interesting as well because when you look at Tesla's work, and he bases a lot of the his calculations for the energy creation through
Yeah.
the 369. Do you find that his theories play into what you've learned about numerology?
So it started off, 'cause I'm all about energy, frequency, vibration. That's all about me. S- So when I first got into numerology, yes, that was one of the biggest topics that everyone kept asking. What's 369? What does it mean? But Nikola Tesla never mentioned 369. That's just Chinese whispered over the years. It was energy, frequency, and vibration. So if you take his words and then change the numbers, three creates, six stabilizes, and then nine transforms. That is just the flow of energy. And that's what Nikola Tesla was pointing at.
Beautiful. I love that. So, okay. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions of numerology that you've found?
That's the numbers.
The master numbers. Okay. So
Hmm.
explain like why are they sort of null and void in your books?
Uh, they're not void because they're still a number, they're still a compound. The 11/2 acts differently to a normal 2. But to say they are master numbers, we're trying to come away from I'm better than you, you're better than me, and it's still staying there.
Okay, so you think it's sort of more like a hierarchical thing. So a master number
Yes.
may, if that's projected onto somebody, they may feel superior, and it's going against where we're going for the new Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, so it was interesting because I remember I posted we had a conversation with Joe Soley from Bizology, and she'd mentioned that you can't be a life path 33, and it got a lot of people engaging with the comment that she made, and she was merely saying that well we reduce it down to a six in Pythagorean numerology, in that because it holds Christed consciousness potential, that she doesn't feel that people at this point on the Earth's timeline are capable of, sort of.
I watched that one, yeah.
Did you see it? And it caused
Yeah.
a lot of people weren't were felt like she was wrong in what she was saying. I understood, obviously.
She's she's correct. You reduce it down to a six, but we can't forget the 33. It's still a compound of the six.
Mm.
So instead of master numbers, we call them compound numbers.
Okay, so it's just a different term.
Basically, yes.
Okay, so what does the 11 mean then for you?
It's a mirror. 11s, they get shown their fears most often because that's what they've got to learn. They see themselves, and that can be quite emotional, quite overwhelming.
So they see themselves. So the 11 is
Mm.
a mirror to what, their shadow?
To themselves, it's two ones. So that one is the sun itself, its will. So it's a mirror in between because it reduces down to a two, which is it's the moon. It's receptive. It's a mirror. So when the ones are next to each other, it's two of your own selves facing each other that you've got to be basically learning how to. Oh, sorry about my next door dog. It's a mirror.
And what about the 22? What about the 22?
Oh, the 22. A lot of people like to call that the master number, right? A builder. That's a misconception. It's only because in Freemasonry, the 22nd is the master builder. So it's not a master builder in the sense of a master number. It's a master builder in the sense of Freemasonry. When you get to level 22, you become a builder. Um, but from that same ideology, from the 11, it wouldn't work the same because one is self, two is not self. So it's not two selves looking at each other. This is two insides looking at each other.
Two insides looking at each other. So what does that
Mm,
mean?
it means what I say. So you're like one is self. So when you have it together, you're looking at yourself. But two is emotions. So it's like emotions, it's like double emotions, but it's not double because they're next to each other, not on top of each other. It reduces down to a four, which is it's two planets. You can either have Uranus or you can have Saturn. A lot of people like to say, I think, is it Ketu? Ketu
Mhm.
or Rahu? So it's all emotion, it's all inside. That's what I'm saying. It's not external.
Mhm.
So the 22s are all internal. It's like double vision, 2020. They see a lot. The 22s do. They see what most people can't see.
Okay. So what are you, Liam?
What am I? Depends on the placement.
So, okay, so if we were to look at your name vibration, what does that come out as?
Full name or just Liam?
The full name.
Full name comes to a 70.
Okay. So how does that express itself with you?
It tells me that the inside, so the soul, so it's not the external, it's where the soul feels most at home. And that's the journey of the soul, is your full name. So I'm on the journey of a seeker from the inside. So I might not look it from the outside, but from the inside, I know where I need to go.
Yeah, that would be a really accurate sort of assessment. The seven is my day number, and I identify with that, and I can see that within you as well. Um, okay, so how do you then use numerology practically in your own life and in your own decision making?
And so before any of that, you've got to find yourself. Use it to find yourself. That's the main thing I always tell everyone. Once you've done that, you can use it to help other people, or you can use it as a timing mechanism. You've got pinnacles, you've got personal years, and these are timing mechanisms that can help you, especially personal months. They're my favorite because it's not too small, it's not too big. You get a good, accurate reading with the months. The years can be a bit off because a lot of people find personal years change on your birthday, they change in January. There's loads of misconceptions on it, but I know when they actually change. It changes January, but you'll feel it October. It's energy, and you always feel energy slightly before you see it. I like full moon. A few days before full moon, you'll feel it, but you won't see it. So around 3 months before the end of the year, October, the 10th month, 1, 2, 3 for November, December. It's like getting you ready. This is what you're going to be feeling all next year. It's like a little teaser.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people, sort of calculate it from birthday to birthday, but I always calculate it from January to January, but you definitely start feeling that energy from the birthday, which is
So
really,
when we agreed to this podcast, we agreed to it last month. So right now I'm going through a 9 personal year in a nine. Well, last year was a 9 personal month. What happened every time we tried to get this podcast going? It just didn't want to. The universe just didn't want us to happen
Mm,
that month. But for some reason, in October, because I'm moving into a 1 personal year, and I've never done this before. This is something new. So already in October, I'm feeling all the new stuff from next year. Does that make sense?
mm. Are you born in October as well then?
No, I'm born in April.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's
It's just
interesting.
October's the 10th month.
It's the 10th
So
month.
September, yeah, so September was the last 999, right? The 27th was the last 999 portal in a sense. So then it moves back from 9 to 1. But you can't have one again when we've already had it in January. So you can't feel the same stuff you felt this year. You're gonna start feeling what you're gonna feel next year. So
Mm.
whatever you guys are feeling this year, that is in October, is basically a bigger version of next year.
Yeah, see, I was born in October, so I start if we're looking at personal year cycles, the way I would calculate that is by you add up the day, the month, and then the current year that you're in,
Mm,
or the current year that you're in. So, for example, I would be then in my personal year 8, but I start feeling the vibration of the 9 from October in my birthday, but it doesn't swap over until into the 9 until January. Do you
mm.
also calculate your personal year cycles like that, or is it completely different?
What's your day and your month? And I'll show you.
So the 16th of the 10th, 1972. So it's like the
So
1610.
16 is 7, plus the 1 is 8.
Yeah.
8 plus 9. Anything you add to 9 comes back to 8. So you're in an 8 personal year.
Yeah.
But you'll start to feel the 9 in October,
Mm,
November, December, but you'll see it in January. That's
yeah.
how I do it.
Yeah, all right. So it's the same. So what you're talking about then with regards to the October dates there is something slightly different. It's slightly different because you're talking more about the way that we've moved from the 999 cosmic portal into back to the one again for October. Yeah. So just to clarify that for
Y-
anyone who's watching.
Yes, and it's for everyone. So as in like every personal year. So it doesn't matter what if you're born in October, December, or January or February. The personal years always shift in January, but you feel it 3 months before.
Mhm. Okay, got you. Great. Okay. Now, just to sort of have a quick segue, because obviously TikTok is a very visual and fast-moving platform. So how do you
Hmm.
make numerology engaging and understandable for short form content?
I see what people are wanting, and I try to twist it to where I'm not going against my truth, but still enough. where I'm pleasing the algorithm. I've struggled for a long time. It's like a hokey pokey with TikTok. You've got to play with the algorithm. And sometimes I don't want to play with the algorithm. I just want to give you the truth. But TikTok, they don't like that. So you just got to play hokey pokey with it.
So can you elaborate when you're saying you do hokey pokey? What do you mean? Like, do you know if there's somebody out there who's an aspiring numerologist and they're like, well, what's his secrets? How come he's getting so many views on his videos? What would you say? Like, how have you been adapting your content to be able to, sort of get more views?
Um, Making it so it. So if I wanted a video to go viral, I would make a video where I would make people comment. Make sure it's either commenting a number or commenting their life off or their birthday. So a recent one I did was I made a video and I tapped straight into people's subconscious in that video. The first thing I said was pick a number. I don't give you time to consciously think. So the subconscious picks a number and you've already put a number in the chat. That's already at 80K. That's my biggest video ever. But before that, I'd just make it so people would comment their birthday. And the more people that would comment their birthday, the more comments that you reply back to, the higher the video goes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's about engagement. So I love what you said earlier on about like how you've got to get people to understand themselves first before you really start going into any other aspects of numerology. Um, do you find there's a lot of people out there that are really lost in life? They really don't know who they are and what they're here to do.
Yeah,
Were you that person as well before you
yes.
found numerology?
We've all been there. We all grew up in the system, regardless. That made us forget.
So you felt that when you found numerology or numerology found you when you got that book for when you were 15, that did you sort of did you just know that that's what you were going to end up like working with? Did you have that recognition with it? And did it help you to identify like who you really truly are at a soul level?
We felt it, yeah, on that soul level. So you remember we was talking about the seven as my full name? I felt like I think it's another thing I was seeking. I was seeking to find more about myself. And when you looked into numerology and you're like, okay, I'm a free life path, and that's telling me I'm a communicator. It's not wrong, but it's not right. You know what I'm saying? I do like to talk, but I have a seven in my name. So now tell me, how does a three and a seven interact? Because they're both environments. It's the environment of the soul and the environment of the body. But how does a seven and three react? The three wants to communicate and the seven really doesn't. So I've been at a push and pull with that my whole life.
Yeah, I understand. So it's almost like getting your message out into the world has been a challenge for you because even though because the seeker, yeah, wants to just seek internally and be on her own, and then the
But the three
three,
wants to seek
yeah.
externally.
So really, a platform like TikTok is actually a good move for you to be able to share your wisdom because but you've had that internal battle, have you? Do any of your other numbers help you with that inner conflict?
Yes.
Which
Monday.
ones?
I'm born on the 14th. So even though sometimes I'm a bit of push and pull with everything, I can adapt very quickly.
So the 14 is a karmic number, isn't it? Do you see it as a karmic number, and do you believe in karmic
Yes.
numbers?
Yes. It's a karmic number because four and five vibrations don't get along. Five wants to move and the four wants to stay still structured. That's why it's a karmic number. So if we take that ideology and look at the other karmic numbers, 13 would be a karmic number because three and four don't get along. 16 is a karmic number because six and seven don't get along. And then 19 is a karmic number because one and nine doesn't get along.
Would you be able to elaborate on that and why they don't get along? So if you go back to say, for example, the 16, which is where that's I was born on the 16th. So I'd be quite curious to find out your explanation of that. So why doesn't
So
the six and the seven get on?
because the six is all about giving to everyone else. The seven is all about giving to self. So through that push and pull, your ego, you'll find an ego death within that. Like, which one do I pick, myself over people? Who do I pick? I don't know. And with that comes an ego death, and then you finally pick from the 16. You have to. It's part of the karma.
So for you with the 14 then, the four wants to stay still, but the five wants to get moving. So that's how you, with that 14, it helps you, it pushes you really out of inner conflict and into action. Is that right?
Yeah, you can put it that way. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So can you share another memorable story of where numerology has helped somebody that you've been working with?
Ooh, a story. I'm not good at storytelling. I should be though. I'm a free life path, but I can't storytell. Um,
Or just just how you've noticed some guidance that you've offered somebody through looking at their name chart and how it's transformed their life in some way. You don't have to tell a story, but just how you've seen transformation within a person.
so there's one guy when I first started TikTok. Um, he joined. He got a reading. He enjoyed it completely, and he enjoyed it that much. He got his wife one, but then he also got his son one. And it was when we did the son's reading where everything started to become quite cool. Something it was I can't remember completely, but something to do with him either going to university or starting an apprenticeship. And they wanted me to predict or to guess what he was going to do or just give him guidance on that. And so I had a look and I told him, without even knowing him, I know what he's going to pick. He's going to pick this, this, and that. 2 months later, they came back and says, Liam, you was right. And it changed his life completely.
That's great. Well done. Well done. So I guess his parents are complete and utter numerology converts then after that, are they?
They were already into it, I'm pretty sure, but they were into, I'm pretty sure it was the Vedic side.
Okay. So your sort of slant and wisdom really, as you said before, is Chaldean numerology. For the people that are watching who really don't know too much about that, in a nutshell, could you just explain like what that is and where it came from and why the name carries a more powerful vibration than the birth date?
Yes, I wouldn't call it a what. The what is the numerology. Just like Pythagorean numerology, you've got Pythagorean, the who, and then you've got numerology, the what. So, who are the Chaldeans is the question you should be asking. And the Chaldeans, they were priests, astrological priests back in just after the Babylonian times. So, this was ancient Mesopotamia, way before the Egyptians, the Greeks, way before all that. And they studied the stars. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have astrology what we see nowadays. So the Chaldeans, they used to sit on top of ziggurats. So these are kind of like smaller versions of the pyramids that you see in Giza. They have about between 7 to 12 steps, and they would sit on the top. And obviously, back then the skies were a lot more clear. They're not clear no more. So they could sit on the top of this and have a 360 view of the sky. And they would track our skies and they would track the moon for omens, but they were just astrological priests. With that came numerology as well, because it's geometry, it's numbers, it's everything.
That's interesting. And as you're talking about that, there seems to be a real passion, in the way you're describing, who they were. Do you feel like, that you've got like almost like a parallel life connection with the Chaldeans?
I wouldn't say parallel. I could have been a Chaldean in a past life because we know we've all been here before. This is not the first time. It's the never-ending story. Uh, but I could have been a Chaldean priest, and I'm just here to take the Chaldean wisdom from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. So a lot of people nowadays are here to just bring that information from one age to the other so we don't lose it, especially now we're in the age of technology. But that's why a lot of people are putting it all on the internet.
So how do you see numerology evolving, over the next few years with social media?
Good question. I feel it's not really going to change much. Not straight away. I think it's going to, because right now, this year's been quite a big year for astrology and numerology. And it's due to the vibrations. It's 2025, 2 and 5 is 7. So it's a lot of people have found their spiritual path this year, regardless. And I don't think it's going to change. I think a lot of people are going to just let it go. I think it's going to be a trend for a little bit, but then people are going to let it go, and only the true ones will stick to it. Right now, it's a trend. Does that make sense? And when trends fall off, so do people.
So do you actually feel that numerology is a trend right now?
Right now, it's a trend, yes. It's not meant to be a trend. It's a tool that you can use to find yourself and to find everyone else. But right now, people are using it as a trend. They're using it to get views. They're not really using it to get the information out. You know what I mean? It's all trendy.
It's interesting you should say that because I must admit, I've always thought I wish it would start trending because yeah, I don't really see that many people like engaging with numerology on social media that much. I mean,
I
there's a
find
few, eh?
Your Americans like to speak about it the most.
Is that right?
And
I
that's
didn't.
due to Gary, the numbers guy. He pushed it really big in America, but he pushed not just numerology, he pushed Chinese astrology as well. So your Americans are quite into it as well.
Oh, right. Okay. You're talking about G33.
Yes.
It's interesting to see your facial expressions. It's interesting because I did actually reach out to him to come on this show, and he politely declined. But just about everybody else said they would, which is really nice because I feel like part of my role in this this whole wave of whatever it is to bring numerologists together from different walks of life. And I was having an interesting conversation with a lady. Who was it that said it? Oh, it was Catherine Kinney. She does cosmic numerology. She's quite interesting actually because she channels Pythagoras, and she was saying that a lot of the Pythagorean numerologists, because they're, at the end of Pythagoras's life or his reign, there was a big fire and they all got burnt alive in this one of his facilities or something, and so they're all quite reluctant now to get back together just in case they sort of end up with the same fate. So I feel that part of my journey at this point, at least, is to kind of bring numerologists together of all different sorts because another chap I was speaking with, Lynn Boez, who's the grandfather of numerology. He's also a
I've watched that
cosmologist.
one.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, and he sort of said to me, numerologists don't tend to like each other very much, and he didn't understand why, whether it was because they feel threatened by each other or they've just got different ways of interpreting numbers. But
You're
I think it's
correct,
about time that
100%.
we all get back together again, and have a bit of a party.
Have you ever had anyone copy you?
No, well, I mean, I've had
No.
people create fake profiles of me on TikTok, but I don't think it's the
Oh,
same
no,
thing.
I mean generally actually copying the way you give readings.
I don't
So
think so.
like on your TikTok, you have your little whiteboard, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's your way of doing it, and you speak a certain way when you're doing it. So do I when I don't have the the board, but I have a certain way I do it. And there's one guy that joined, and when I first started, and he could see that I was doing really well. And he not once have he's ever done any numerology videos. He was all about business and money, no fap, that kind of stuff. But as soon as he saw me doing that, he actually copied exactly how I spoke. So then when my followers went and saw him, they couldn't watch him because it felt like they was watching me. Like, does that make sense?
Did he look like you
But
and
other than
everything as
that, I've not.
well?
Pardon?
Did he look like you as well?
Can I get a picture?
Yeah, yeah, show us because that's taking it to the extreme, isn't it? When people want to mimic what you're doing, I wonder what purpose he wanted to do that. It's like, did he want to be you?
It,
Oh,
no, he
money.
wanted the money. He wanted the money.
That's
Hmm, I think there we go. Can't really see it.
okay. Yeah, you can see his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Coach Ben on TikTok. Uh, he's good at what he does because he copied me. Really good. Probably the best out there. But to say how he did it, it wasn't the greatest way of how he did it.
Right. Interesting. Isn't it funny? It's very interesting. So maybe that's what Lynn Boas was going on about when he was saying that he doesn't think that numerologists tend to get on
That's why I
because
brought it up because he doesn't like me. I love him. I love what he's done. I just don't like how he's done it. But he hates me. Doesn't like me because he's jealous of the stuff we know.
so do you think he feels a bit threatened by you maybe?
I wouldn't say friend. Just jealous. I wish I could know that much.
There we go. Interesting. So we're having a get together as numerologists later on this month actually to do sort of predictions for 2025. So sorry for 2026. We're in 2025. So if you're interested, you can join that group actually because there's a few of them that are going to
Okay.
be there. Do you delve into cosmology yourself? Is it something that's of interest to you?
Cosmology.
Hmm.
What do you mean? Can you define cosmology?
Well, it's the study of, the creation, So Lynn describes it as you know, ma the unmanifest becoming manifest and the sacred geometry behind the multiverse.
Hmm.
So and the planet and how the planets and numbers kind of interact with each other. But his system of numerology is quite similar to Catherine Kinney's in the fact that they both delve deeply quite into the master number vibrations, where they talk about the not only the 11, 22, 33, but also the 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. And I was like, whoa, there was all this information that I was, sort of not privy to up until that point. So I was quite impressed by what was coming up through through different sort of locations within the birth chart and the name chart. But from what
Yeah.
you've said is that it's almost like for you the master number is one of the biggest misconceptions. So I'm just wondering whether that type of information would end up being ultimately compatible with the way you're going with numerology moving forward. What do you think? Do you think that it could add extra layers of information to your already broad repertoire?
Yes, it could, especially with the geometry, because geometry is more numbers, like squares, 90, 90, 90, 90 angles. You know what I'm saying? It's all interlinked. Um, but I've never actually looked into cosmology. I know about it, as in the geometry and stuff, but it's more Chaldean numerology and astrology. That's what I do. But it's not the astrology you see nowadays. But that's for another story.
Okay, great. Well, that'll be another episode later on down the track that you can start delving into, your form of astrology. I love the fact that you are making things so your own and so unique. in in the way that you're interpreting information because I do feel that as we evolve that numerology has to evolve in the same way that I suppose the chakra colors are evolving as we're evolving as a human race as well. Like nothing actually stays stagnant for too long. What advice and guidance would you give to someone who wants to start learning numerology but doesn't know where to begin? Like how would you best guide them?
Hmm. You- In what way? As in, for them to learn numerology? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, to start learning about it, to start learning about, how it can be practically applied in their day-to-day life, for example.
It's probably to learn the basics. Just learn the basics 1 through 9. And the easiest way to do that is link it to a planet. Most people nowadays that they're into astrology. They know the sun is self, they know the moon is emotions, they know Mars is action, they know Venus is love, etc. And you can add that to a number. So for instance, 6 is Venus. Venus is love. So that tells me all the characteristics that you know about Venus, it goes for the 6 as well. So that's another way you can layer it to help you understand more things about that number. But the more you use it yourself and see it for yourself and experience it for yourself, like I've seen that before. Like, what you're born the 16th, okay, I've seen that here before, and you can connect it yourself. But learn the basics 1 through 9.
Learn the basics 1 through to 9. Hmm. It's good advice. It's good advice because, all of the numbers are made up from that. How do you calculate the zero, and also the letter Y?
The letter Y would be 1 in Chaldean, and O, as in the number O, is an amplifier. The letter O is corresponded to 7, hence occult. So that's another aspect of the 7. The 7s are always into the occult. Um, but the 0 is an amplifier. So 1 with an extra 0, you've amplified that from £1 to £10. Add another 0, it's another amplifier. So now you got £100. It's the same thing, it's just an amplifier.
Okay. So you mentioned there that the Y is a 1. So is it a vowel or a consonant?
It's a vowel.
Just move it back a little bit, Liam, just so we can see it. It's a bit blurred. No, it's a bit blurred. Maybe it's because you've got
Bit blurred. Okay, it's just pencil. But so you've got A, I, J, Q, and Y. That's 1. Then you've got B, K, and R for 2. You've got C, G, L, and S for 3. A nice one for your viewers. You've got D, M, T for 4. You've got E, H, N, X for 5. And then you've got U, V, W for 6. And then for 7 is 0, sorry, O and Z, like Wizard of Oz. And then you've got F and P for 8.
Okay. Okay, interesting. So it's not sort of done in the traditional way of like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then one, two, three, four, five,
No.
six.
So that's placement, that's order. We're not about that. We're about sound vibration. So that is based on how they sound.
Hmm. Okay, which makes more sense because I suppose when you're looking at Pythagorean, it's based around the draconian alphabet, isn't it? And all of that. So almost like an
Mm.
outdated system, in a lot of senses. So when you're purely basing it around vibration,
So I actually looked at a few things. I'm pretty sure I looked at your name. Not your full name, 'cause I don't know your full name. But your first name, Hayden, comes to a 21/3 in Chaldean. So I don't know what your first name is in Pythagorean, but it's a 3 in Chaldean for your first name. So that's how your soul expressed itself.
it's a 3 actually in Pythagorean as well.
No, is it?
Oh, actually, no, sorry. Yeah, it is. The Hayden is it's a 3. Hayden Crawford is a 1, which
Okay.
is red. But yeah, it's yellow. My name Hayden is yellow, which is the 3. Yeah. personality. Yeah.
Okay, so that matches as well then.
Yeah. That's quite interesting. Yeah. But it's funny because the the three is missing from my birth chart, so that my name carries that information. And it's
Can
probably,
you explain that? Can you explain the arrows?
the arrows. Well, the
Hmm.
arrows of individuality.
Yeah, 'cause I have no arrows. Absolutely none.
I don't either. I don't in my birth chart. So if you don't, it means that you are adaptable, and
Hmm.
that's if that's are we talking about your birth chart or your name chart?
The birth chart.
Your birth chart, yeah. So yeah, it means you're very adaptable, and also you've got to learn the art of wise assertiveness. That's what it means. You've got to learn to be assertive,
Hmm.
but in a wise way. So I don't know if you've had to deal with that, but I certainly have in
Yeah,
my
because I
life.
fail at sometimes. But sometimes I don't move wisely and I move chaotically, and it fires back at me.
So how
Hmm.
specifically when you say that you fire off like um in a sort of a sporadic way, what do you mean?
Um, so let's say, so my partner, if I wanted to tell her something that I didn't like that she was doing out of me being wise, saying that's not going to help you, sometimes that her reaction can cause me to go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you not listening to me? That kind of stuff. And it can make me go chaotically from me trying to be wise.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's the same thing, yeah. It's it kind of like you just lose your cool all of a sudden, and because I don't know whether it's a sense of being challenged or confronted, or whatever it is, it sort of creates a reaction within you that when you look back at it, you go, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done it
Yeah.
in that way."
I should have done it in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that comes up when you don't have arrows in your birth chart. Yeah, I often sometimes wish that I did, because it would be a bit easier to be able to map it and to fully
Mm.
understand it. But it's interesting that you are curious about Pythagorean numerology still, even though you sort of really specialize within Chaldean. Um, do you do you find that you still find value from other forms of numerology?
Yes. I'm always open. Always. And when I see someone good at what they do, I'll ask them. So I asked you.
Okay, so are there hidden layers of numerology that you think most people overlook? Um,
The
but
the compound numbers
okay,
is the most overlooked.
so when you're talking about compound numbers, would you briefly elaborate on what you mean, just so the viewer, whoever's watching, can understand specifically what you mean?
So I am born the 14th of April, 2001. 14 plus 4 is 19. 19 plus 3 is 21. So 21 would be the compound. But we all know 21 is reduced down to 3. So the root of that is 3. But the compound would be a 21. So that is the same in all calculations. So before you reduce, that is the compound number. So a 33 plus 6,
Yeah,
the 33 would be the compound, and the 6 would be the root.
got it. Okay, so me being a 27/9, what would that say about me? That's as my life
As
path.
your life path. So obviously you know 9 path. You know what you're here to do. I don't need to tell you that, but you add the layer of intuition, which is the 2. It's the moon, it's receptive, so you can feel a lot, but you also see a lot as well. You're not here to be seen, you're here to see. You're here to help other people see as well, due to that 7 and the 2. But that 2 can amplify the 7, so sometimes you can feel like you overthink a lot sometimes. because the seven they analyze too much, and sometimes with the two, with the seven, it can add intensity to that overthinking, and sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Story of my life. What about the positive
But you're a nine.
aspects?
You,
What
you
about
can
the,
adapt to it.
what's that?
You're a nine, so you can adapt to it. You can shapeshift into any vibration you want.
Hmm.
And that sounds cliche, shapeshifting, but no, that is basically what it is. You can tap into any vibration you want. If you want to act like a six, you can be like a six. If you want to be a two, be a two. Very easy for you to tap into these vibrations.
Hmm. I like it. I do like being
But
a
if you're
nine.
not a nine, you can't. That's why they are scared of the nine. They don't say much on the nine. It's gatekept, right? A lot of people gatekeep the nine due to that reason. Nines are your superheroes, the ones that can just do anything that they want because they can willingly tap into all these different vibrations and be who they want.
Bring it on. That's good news. I like that. I like hearing that. I'm quite happy with my nine energy, even though we can be self-righteous. I think I heard you saying in one of your videos about the shadow aspect of the nine is, isn't it that they always think they're right?
They can, yes. I'm a nine, but I have it in a different place to where you have it.
Ah, where's yours?
Liam, so Liam comes down to a nine. So that's how my soul expressed itself.
Got it.
So sometimes I am right. I'm joking. That was a joke.
Was it? I don't know. I don't know whether to take you seriously or not. That's
I'm a
the
free.
thing.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You've got one of those mannerisms about you, but I think you're very intriguing, and I think a lot of people will really take to your sort of way of using numbers and offering ancient wisdom in a very new and quirky way. So yeah, I want to thank you very much for sharing all of these amazing insights, and I hope that that people that are watching have followed along. I know there's been a fair amount of different information on today's show, which is great because it just
Hmm.
keeps this subject fresh and exciting and entertaining. And remember to head over to Liam's TikTok channel when you've subscribed to this video and to my channel. But do that as well. Where do people find you, Liam, on TikTok? What's your handle?
So my handle is Liam free underscore six snake.
Ah, very cool. Why the snake?
I was born 2001, which is in Chinese astrology the year of the snake. So it's just another layer to show you guys that you're not getting shit from me. You're getting proper truth that I have worked for.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. You can feel your passion for the subject and the layers of wisdom that's embodied within your words really clearly. So you should be very proud of yourself. And for anybody who's watched this episode today, I genuinely hope you do check out some of his incredible videos. They are very, very enlightening. I think you're a rising star in the numerology world, and you bring such a fresh modern perspective to numerology, and you help them understand how the numbers can genuinely help them to find themselves, know themselves, and then from there become who they were destined to be.
Mm. To know thyself is to know everything else.
Mm.
But thank you, Hayden, for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it because it's not often I get to speak to other numerologists. So I'm just speaking to regular people, and they're like looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" So it's nice to actually speak about a subject with someone that actually understands and follows it themselves. So that was nice, and I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And what I'll do is I'll put all your links and details in the description. All right. So Thanks again. And until the next time we speak, hopefully we'll get you back for the end of the predictions for 2026, and then you can share some insights with that group as well.
I'll start thinking of a few. Hmm.
But you've got a few weeks, Liam.
Yeah. I don't think much is going to happen next year, to be fair.
Oh, really?
But we'll see.
You don't think there's going
I've
to be
not had
much
much thought
happening?
on it.
So interesting that you're probably about the only person in history that's been saying that because everyone else is expecting Armageddon. I think Armageddon out of here.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They don't understand where we're at or where we are. That's never going to come. This apocalypse Armageddon is never going to come. It's we live in a world of polarity where there's good and there's bad. You take away the bad and you just want good, then this system doesn't work. This system is a self-sustaining system and it works on polarity. You take that out, then it's not self-sustaining no more. But we can say there is a slight infection going on, but to get rid of the bad and make it all love and light is a misconception. It's duality. We can't come away from it.
So in other words, that people that are aspiring towards New Earth, where we're all sort of singing and dancing around a campfire with poppies in our hair, it's never going to happen.
Not that way, no. It's nice to think, you know, but we're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of technology. What we're going to be dancing around in the woods with our technology? Times have changed. We're not hunter-gatherers no more. We don't have to go out and live in the woods and meditate. And you meditate every day. You meditate by taking the middle path. You see the good, you see the bad, but you say no and you go your own way. And that's where we're at.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that perspective. It's great. Yeah. So instead of dancing around a campfire, we're going to be dancing around a, probably just with our virtual reality headsets on in some sort of whitewashed room, thinking that we're down the rabbit hole.
No, no, no. It could be anything. Technology, obviously, our brains, we don't use our full brains. So a lot of people can look at a phone and look at the inside of a phone and they can just, wow, that's too much for my brain to handle. But that is nothing compared to the stuff that we can actually do in the age of technology. We're only at the beginning of this, and you'll see it. But first, we've got to have the Great Awakening before all this new technology comes in. But you hear people speaking about it, like the med beds. Ever heard of a med bed?
Yeah, of course, it grows your limbs back.
Mm-mm. Well, that's good technology, isn't it?
Mm.
But that's not going to happen until we all wake up. And you can see a lot more people are waking up to the world. And it's done on purpose. Because all this new stuff, this new technology, these new ideologies can't come in until we're all awake, or at least till the collective is awake at a certain point. Because if they bring in all of this technology and ideologies while the collective is still half asleep, it could send half of the world into psychosis. And so that wouldn't be good. It
Mm.
would turn a lot of people psycho because that stuff is just too fathomable to comprehend in our brain without knowing it first, or at least knowing the ideas. That's why they put it into the movies and stuff, sci-fi, so they can slightly get it into the brain. So it's not a new concept, but we'll see.
Mm.
I could go on for days, so I'm going to leave it there.
It's very interesting conversations. I appreciate that. But yeah, thanks again, Liam. It's been amazing talking to you today, and we'll see you next time round. All right. Bye for now, guys.